Baby, 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 do you know who you are?
I have started it, just so you know.
Well, I'm listening to a song.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon.
We've been together all day.
We're saying hello to the camera now.
Oh, hello, camera. You minx, you.
I'm Alexa.
I'm Matthew.
And today we are going to be doing a 24-hour reading challenge.
These are books.
Somewhere in the frame. Well, somewhere not in the frame. Our books. It is currently a rainy Saturday where we are, and we figured we might as well spend the day reading, and, you know, why not make a challenge out of it? Matthew is new to the idea of a 24-hour reading challenge, which basically just means so we will both try to read as much as we can in the next 24-hour period. That's what we're going to be getting up to. So we were just out of the house.
Hey, did you take me on a spontaneous surprise date?
I did. So we're going to change into something more comfortable, and then we will let you know what we're going to be reading. Oh my. You look very cozy.
I'm cozy. Okay. Alexa's not in the room right now. It's just you and me. You know, I think it's time that we got to know each other a little better. Camera, YouTube. Well, I'm a Virgo.
Now that we've changed into something more comfortable, in some cases it is pajamas, we have introduced our 24-hour reading challenge for the next 24 hours. And now, why are you laughing at me?
Well, a 24-hour reading challenge for the next 24 hours.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Just seems like a better writer would use.
Matthew, why don't you introduce this segment?
No, I don't want to. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Try again.
So we introduced our 24-hour reading challenge where we're going to try to read as much as we can in the next 24 hours. Is it okay that I told them twice? Now we're going to talk about what books we hope to read and what we hope to accomplish in these 24 hours.
I see you already got your stack ready.
Well, I'm not going to read all of them. I just, you know,
some
it's nice
choices.
to have options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your options?
Okay. So first things first. I've been currently reading for a long time, Red Sands. Reportage and recipes through Central Asia from hinterland to heartland. Which is basically just a series of essays about this author's travels through Central Asia, and includes some recipes.
What kind of recipes do they have?
Like plov.
Barsaki?
No, barsaki, borscht, which is not Central Asian.
I was gonna say,
you know.
it's like Russian food.
Well,
not
it's
plov.
like what you can eat in this.
Kind of plov.
A bygone Uzbek salad. Anyways, I've been currently reading this for a long time since it's a series of essays I tend to read that's kind of like nonfiction, a little bit slower. So maybe I'll make some headway in this challenge and get this finished. I've been challenged by Matthew.
In a previous video.
That
I'm assuming will go up.
I was challenged by Matthew to actually finally read The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon.
You can tell how long she's had it because it's been really scuffed up over the years.
It's moved a lot of times. I think it's lived in
4 different homes?
At least 4, maybe 5. Anyways, I've had Priory of the Orange Tree for a very long time. This is was a standalone fantasy, but a sequel was recently released.
Prequel or sequel?
I'm not sure. I don't want to spoil myself.
No, that's fair. Why would you know, too?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And all I knew about this when I picked it up is that there are lesbians and there are dragons, and to this day, that is all I know about this book.
Are there lesbian dragons?
TBD. Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds good.
So You know, I think it's probably finally time to actually read this instead of just having it on my shelf as like kind of a conversation piece by how chunky she is. So I will start that. But I think for these kind of 24-hour challenges, it can be kind of discouraging to have like just one really big long book you're trying to get through, especially if you like don't finish it. I feel like part of the fun of the reading challenge is to like try to finish a book. Statistics. Like I will have some other options just for variety if I'm feeling something a little bit shorter. And then I have Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall in case I'm feeling a different genre, a different kind of mood, which is like a Regency romance kind of vibe. So that's kind of what I want to read, or my options for what I'm going to read. And who knows, because I could be in a mood for some, oh yeah, I'm talking. I could be in the mood for something totally different than everything I just described, and we'll find out. So what are you going to read? What are your...
I'm in the middle of a lot of stuff, so I think most of it's going to be like things I'm going to try and finish, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm almost done. I have one on audio that I'm reading, which is Such a Fun Age. This is where I normally display it. If I had one! See how I'm touching it? Isn't that cool?
You're making it like really large. I mean, I guess...
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's that large, you're not going to see our faces. So I'm reading Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid, I believe the author's name is. And I'm almost done with that. I've been listening on audio, so I'll probably just finish it off today. I think I have like an hour or two. It is about a black woman in Philadelphia. She works as a nanny.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield!
And she is involved in a racially charged incident, and then she is basically caught between her boyfriend and her the person she babysits for, both of whom have a history together, and both of whom are sort of like white guilting the fuck out and being kind of pieces of shit. So I'm gonna finish that off. I've been reading Saga, the graphic novel series, and I have the compendium of the first 52 issues, I think, in here. It's a space opera set in a universe where a war between a planet and its moon dominates galactic civilization, galactic conflict, and soldiers from opposite sides of that war fall in love, have a kid, and because their love transgresses the societal norms of these warring nations, they have to go on the run. Anyways, I'm very far into it, of this compendium one. I've been kind of cheating with the statistics, and counting each volume separately, not each issue, but each volume separately. So I think I have something like 3 volumes left in this that I'd like to finish, but that's gonna be more for like when I'm tired of words. So I've been reading like in lines at the airport and stuff. I've been reading Liarmouth like a few pages at a time by John Waters, the director, who you don't know.
I don't know directors.
That's okay, don't worry about it.
I'm not a movie man.
Me neither.
You're more of a movie man.
Yeah, I mean, not his movies necessarily.
Okay, yeah.
Which is just like filthy. It's just this novel about a bunch of trashy people. The hook is there's this beautiful woman who hates every person around them. She works with a man who works for her for free on the condition that after a year of his servitude, his slavery, she will have sex with him. And she gives him this, yeah, it's gross. She gives him this slip, is sort of the inciting incident. He's chasing her down. Meanwhile, his penis comes to life. We meet this woman's daughter, who is obsessed with bouncing, and her mom, who does plastic surgery on animals.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a really weird one.
What the fuck?
I was like recommended to it on a podcast, and I was like, okay, let's try it. So I'm like halfway through that. I feel like I'd get, but it's not a long book, so I could probably just breeze through it. Also, I have, I think it's called The Employees by Olga Rarjon, about something. I haven't read it.
Okay. TBD what it's about.
TBD what it's about. But it's like 150 pages. It's very short, and I have it as an ebook right now, and I haven't started it, so I probably get through that. And if I get through all this, which I don't think I will, I'm not a very fast reader, but if I happen to, then I have Left Hand of Darkness, which we got in a previous episode that I would like to finish, so we can review it later on. And I'm only like 50 pages into it. I haven't had a lot of time to read it with all the travel. But I'd like to make some progress on this. If not this weekend, then very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you picked a really good, like, the kind of like classic 24-hour readathon materials when you're trying to get like as many numbers as you can. Like, you got like a nice like novella, you got like a book.
That was my thinking. I'm like, let me not pick
you have some like
fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you have. Let me not pick a Prior
to the
Orange
Orange
Tree.
Tree. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not gonna read Babel or The Poppy War. I'm just reading books in front of me.
Yeah.
Or Sam Nunn, Lion of the Senate or something.
You could read Sam Nunn, Lion of the Senate or something.
No, Statesman of the Senate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I probably can. But I'm not going to today.
Yeah,
Next challenge.
Next challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna get started on all this reading, and we will check in soon. Yeah.
I'm reading. There's holes.
So we've both been reading, but it is now very much dinner time. So what are we making, Matthew?
Making blini.
Or should I say, what are you making?
I'm making blini.
Yay!
At your request.
Yay!
What are you doing?
I'm reading.
You're pretending
In the
to read while I
vlog.
cook? I'm also reading while I'm doing this. Which is not good baking form.
That's not good baking form.
I should actually put on my...
What would Hall Hollywood say?
You say Hall Hollywood?
I did.
I don't know, but his evil twin Paul Hollywood would probably stare at me with his piercing blue eyes and give me a little handshake.
Oh my.
No, probably not. Hall Hollywood.
Me on camera?
You're right. No, you're right. The camera doesn't like you, actually. That's fine.
The Blini chef is now at work. I can't wait to eat the bleen. Coffee number 1 of the 24-hour readathon. Apologies for the loud fan. There was would you describe it as an incident? There was an incident. So we're trying to, reduce the likelihood of our fire alarm going off. But Matthew has granted me the first bleen. I'm very excited to eat it with sour cream.
Naturally.
The best topping for a bleen. She's beautiful, Matthew.
So I had a disaster over here, but we got the good. What are we gonna put on it?
We're gonna eat our bleen, and I will update you because I finished my first book of the readathon.
Oh,
already.
really?
I did.
Ha!
I'm eating my first bleen, which I've topped with honey from Kyrgyzstan. So I finished Red Sands by Caroline Eden. I think I had like 60, maybe 70 pages left, so it wasn't like a ton. But this book, as I've described, is basically a series of essays about this woman's journeys traveling through Central Asia, and she is looking at the region and her travels like through the lens of food and using food as kind of a gateway to understand the culture and how the region has changed in the past 10 years from when it was published. I think it was published a couple years ago. And she also includes recipes in it, which is really fun. And the section I read today was a section about Tajikistan. And like, interestingly, her descriptions of Dushanbe, which is the capital of Tajikistan, like really made me want to go there. So I'm really excited for when I'll get to go to Duchamp.
Yeah.
She has some like restaurant recommendations too that like, you know, they could be gone by now. Like restaurants come and go, but like I'll check them out if they're still there when I get there.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so overall, I would say that this is a fun book and like a pretty good description of her travels because she's choosing to go through the lens of food. There are a lot of historical moments that are hinted at rather than clearly explained for the reader, and so I think that maybe like a little bit of pre-knowledge of the region, or at least of kind of the impact of the Soviet Union on the region, would be helpful context to read this book. But otherwise, I would recommend it.
And I recommend Joanna Lillis's Dark Shadows.
It's also pretty good.
According to my Kindle, I'm 80% of the way through Liar Mouth.
Okay.
It's really, it was funny at first, because it's like, it's over the top. It's meant to be like gross out humor, really, really blue humor, which is fine, and I like, but it just keeps going on, and like the jokes get repeated. It's basically like the same setup for the same joke, but it's in like a different vehicle, and every vehicle ends with a crash of some kind. So yeah, it's not doing it for me.
Okay.
Really. But I have like I think like 40 pages or something left, so I'm just gonna finish it up. I'm gonna give it Euler's number stars. What is it, like 2 something? 2? Do you know what Euler's number is? No. I'm gonna give it.
Avocado.
I was about to say. How did you call
I
it?
said avocado.
Avocado's number. Avogadro's number. And what is avocado's number?
I don't know.
It's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd.
Ah, and you said to the negative.
I also said
26.
negative 26. Yeah, I'm just, no, there's nothing there.
So you would not give it that many stars. That's a lot of stars.
I wouldn't give it an Avogadro's constant of stars.
Taking a brief pause from reading to finish Daisy Jones and the Six. Yes.
You had a bit of fun? Maybe too much?
Okay, I am freshly laundered, and we have, oh yeah.
I want to be her.
You can be her. We don't have a reading update, but we do have a TV update in that we finished watching Daisy Jones and the Six. How did you feel about it, Matthew?
It gets 1.5 thumb up from Matthew.
What's the what's the top of the scale?
2 thumbs.
Oh, okay, that's
and the bottom is 12 thumbs down.
Wow, where are you getting all those extra thumbs?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I have a thumb guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely teared up at the end.
No,
but yeah.
I think I was more emotional when I read the ending of that book, but I don't think the effect was different, other than I'd seen it before, other than I knew it was happening.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, I think it was very well done.
Same. Agreed.
I will say, I thought the scenes at the very end, spoilers, I guess, for the book and the show. Can I say that?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the scenes with the Julia, I think, the daughter, and seeing her both with the mom and Daisy Jones and with her dad was like, that I think was the only thing that was a lot more affecting, was actually being able to see that relationship on screen.
Yeah,
because that was sort of like, even I think, to my recollection in the book, even when the daughter was revealed to be the person doing the documentary, she was still kind of in a behind the scenes role. Whereas here we got to see like her share that screen time and the actual relationship with all those people in her life. Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have been enjoying the show, but now we're gonna get back to reading. I'm about to start my second book. It's about midnight, so I will probably not last too much longer.
I think it'd be fun if I could actually do like an actual 24 hours, especially because we haven't done that much reading since we started, like 2 hours of it maybe. But we'll see. I think if I can get to like 3 a.m. I'll be impressed, or 4 a.m.
Oh god, that's crazy.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
Alexa's gone to sleep, but she told me I was responsible for doing updates while she's asleep. It's like 1 a.m. We're still only a few hours into our challenge. I have now finished, just on audio, Such a Fun Age, which I think I already gave a description of it earlier, but it was fantastic. I don't know if it's 5 stars, but certainly like 4.5, maybe. I don't think it was like a fairly straightforward narrative. It didn't really surprise me, although there was one thing at the end that really made me laugh, which was a spoiler. So I'm not going to say it because I think it's worth the build up for it. But a character reuses a line from earlier in the book that is just like a gut punch that made me laugh so hard. That's kind of a minor thing anyways. The point is, highly recommend. So I'm going to continue now. I think I'm going to get back to Liarmouth. I think I only have like 40 pages left. Finish that off. And then don't tell Alexa because she's sleeping, but I think while she's asleep, I'm going to make her scones for tomorrow morning. So it is now 2 a.m.-ish. Just finished Liarmouth. God, that looks terrible. Happy to be done with it? Really not for me. I started reading this because I wanted like something kind of silly, funny, just keep me entertained in between things whenever I had a second. Kind of scratch that like Hitchhiker's Guide itch. This was not it. I would compare this book to watching an improv scene in which each actor keeps coming in and heightening the scene to a new ridiculous plot line, and the actors just don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to end it. They just keep heightening and heightening, and there's just nowhere to go at a certain point. It's just too ridiculous that it's not funny. It's just like, I guess it doesn't really matter if I spoil it, but just in this book, everyone is part of some weird group that dedicated to bouncing or dogs or cosmetic surgery or flying or shaking or whatever. And they all gain powers as a result. And then this terrible woman is basically out for revenge, and she's this like frigid jerk, but then she magically transforms in the third act, but still is murderous. It's just, this sounds like I'm raving, and I am because I'm exhausted, and this was just not a good book. Do not recommend. Sorry. Also, all the references are to like, I don't know, 1970s indie movies or something. I don't understand any of the references in this book, and I think that's probably part of the reason a lot of the jokes fell flat for me. Okay, so now we're going to make Alexa some scones for the morning because I'm a great boyfriend or whatever. And in the meantime, or while I'm cooking and while it's cooking in the oven, I'm also going to be starting my next book, which is The Employees, I think it was called. But if I'm wrong, I'll probably re-record this. Or I'll just move on. Yeah, I'll probably just move on. Yeah. Okay, so it is about 5 minutes to 4 a.m. I have completed 2 books so far. Is that right? God, it's so late. 2 books. I'm about a quarter of the way through my most recent one, which I'm reading here on my Kindle, which is The Employees. It's hard to say what it's about. It's very short. I'd love to get through it tonight, but I'm losing steam pretty quickly, so I'll probably just gotta go to bed soon. I don't think I have the capacity to actually 24 hours like straight right now, but maybe another time, but we'll see. But yeah, this book is kind of like if the Murderbot from the Murderbot Chronicles, I've only read the first one, but if that Murderbot was in the world of the TV show Severance, I think is the best way to describe it. But I'm hesitant to actually give it a full description because I'm not really sure what it's about. And I am, by the way, eating a little scone with the cream and jam. I couldn't wait till morning. I thought I'd try one out now. But it'll be a really nice surprise for Alexa to have when she wakes up, so I'm excited for her to see it. Okay, last update of the evening because I'm tired. It's I think about 4:30 now. I'm halfway through the book I was reading. I think I want to revise my description of it. It is Severance. It's very reminiscent of that. But instead of the Murderbot, it's more like an early episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. Like one of the ones where like there's a spatial anomaly or a virus or some strange energy that's causing the crew to act weird.
You will address me as captain.
Captain? Oh, well then, my dear Captain, you will address me as Chief Medical Officer or Doctor.
And that's what this book is like. And it's also like as if our main character was Data. That's the Murderbot connection. It's Data in an early Star Trek episode.
Yeah, you are fully functional, aren't you?
Of course, but
How fully?
in every way, of course. I am programmed in multiple techniques.
But in the world of Severance is the way I would describe it. I don't know if that's relatable, but that's what it feels like to me. Anyways, I'll record an update tomorrow, but I'm going to bed.
Good morning to the reading vlog. Good morning. I've just woken up. I'm still in pajamas. But you know, it's a weekend morning, so I'm going to start reading. I have my coffee and I have my book, which I started last night. Last night I started reading Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall. And this is basically a Regency romance where everyone's queer, which we love. The only kind of Regency romance I like to read usually. And I have only gotten about 30 pages in, so what I've read so far has mostly been, you know, what the synopsis tells us. So this is a story about a Duke, Valentine, and he needs to marry this woman due to his parents' wishes, Miss Arabella Tavelton, but she does not want to marry him and runs away. And it turns out she has a twin brother that is very invested in making this marriage happen, but in a romantic way rather than our parents said we have to do it kind of way. So the two, the Duke and the twin brother, run off to try to find the twin sister. Perhaps those two fall in love. So I picked this up because I've read from Alexis Hall before, the most recent one being A Lady for a Duke, which is a Regency romance starring a trans main character, and I really, really love that one. That was definitely one of the best romance books I read last year. So I have high hopes for this one just because I like this author. But so far I would say that the writing in A Lady for a Duke, while definitely still, you know, humorous and having a comedic element, leaned in more to taking the Regency romance genre more seriously, while this is definitely supposed to be comedic and satirical the whole way through, and you can tell that from the writing. So definitely just two different kinds of stories. And for me, getting into this kind of writing where it's very over the top, very sarcastic intentionally, took me a little bit to get into, and I think I'm still in that process of settling into the writing and the world that it's creating. But so far the characters are super over the top and ridiculous, which is really enjoyable, and I will update you once I've gotten further.
We're reading, but also brunching.
In another bookish but non-reading related update, after Matthew and I went to brunch earlier, we walked around, kind of had a nice little walk and checked out some of our local little free libraries. And I found this book of the month edition of The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, which I've definitely been seeing around these past few months. So I decided to grab it. I feel like that's a pretty exciting find. I'm back with another reading update. It is evening, so we don't have too many hours left of our challenge. And I'm learning that I need a lot of sleep over the weekend, it turns out. A 24-hour reading challenge for me does not mean giving up on sleep. So I finished another book. I finished Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall. And I finished this several hours ago, and then I took a nap. As I mentioned earlier, Something Fabulous is a queer Regency romance. It follows our main character, Valentine, Duke of Malvern, goes off to propose to a woman he thought he has long been promised to, and is rejected, and runs off to chase her down as she flees the scene of his proposal with her twin brother, and ends up falling for her twin brother instead. Overall, I would say that this book is just as ridiculous as that synopsis kind of makes it sound. This book really leans into kind of the ridiculous and campy aspects of Regency romance and kind of drives them up to the next level. And that's evident in both the writing style and the way the characters talk. Kind of a quirk of the two twin characters is they both have the tendency to pretend to cast themselves as leads in novels and tend to therefore speak very novelistically in a very literary way of that time period. And so it all feels faintly ridiculous, especially as you'll see the protagonist does not do that. He's much more laconic and cynical. And so it kind of makes for a fun dynamic, fun banter. The situations they get themselves into both emotionally in terms of the plot are very over the top and ridiculous as well. But as is, I would say kind of a characteristic of Alexis Hall's writing, which does often deal with like the faintly over the top and ridiculous scenarios. I'm thinking particularly of their series that's like a romance series based on the Great British Bake Off, which yes, is also as it sounds. There are also deeper emotional moments at the heart of it. So a lot of this is focusing on the main character coming to terms with his feelings, not just about the love interest, but his feelings about opening up to life in many ways, instead of being closed off, learning more about the possibilities of life and the possibilities of his own kind of emotional range, possibilities for happiness. And so it was definitely cute, it was definitely fun. I think I'll read you just one sentence from the acknowledgements. It says that thanks the editor for indulging me in this frankly very silly book. I would agree, yes, it's very silly, very fun, and sometimes that is exactly what you need. Overall, I would probably give this about a 3.5 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed some of Alexis Hall's other work. I definitely did not enjoy it as much as A Lady for a Duke, but I don't think it was supposed to be that. I think it was supposed to definitely be more of a light, funny, silly read, and it definitely was that, and I think it was perfect for a 24-hour readathon in that sense. So now that we only have a few hours left of this readathon, I think I will definitely not be finishing another book either way unless I push myself to finish my audiobook, but I'm not really in the mood to like do that. I'd rather just chill and read for a few more hours. And when I listen to an audiobook, I definitely have to be doing something else with my hands. So I think I'm going to start The Priory of the Orange Tree, and I will check back in with how far I got. I feel like I've seen Priory of the Orange Tree around the bookish community most often as a most intimidating book on someone's TBR versus something someone has actually read, and it's definitely been the case for me as well. But I know that people who have read it have really liked it, so I'm hoping that it kind of lives up to not even the hype, but that it lives up to the intimidation that it's put me through to start it. So yeah, let's go.
I'm tired. I read though.
Matthew
That's my
napped.
update. Bye.
Wait, what did you read?
I finished reading The Employees earlier today before I took a fat nap, but not as fat as I would have desired it to be. I think I already gave basically a review of it yesterday before I went to bed last night, and I think that basically stands, but like 2 thumbs up. Great science fiction. Like, it's told, and like, I think I described it earlier to Alexa as epistolatory, which it's not exactly, but it's like a series of statements from employees after an incident happens, and you get to see the incident unfold in the past, and it has a lot to say about the nature of humanity. Yesterday, I already made this comparison when I made a vlog about this book. It's a lot like an early Star Trek episode, like early Next Generation episode, and now that I've read it, it's specifically like the famous A Measure of a Man episode about whether an android is a person. And it's very much that premise, but with some murder involved, and also it's like a lot darker, but in a good way. It's a great story.
Okay, I'm glad it was a success.
I'm glad you're a success.
Are you planning to read anything more for the next few hours for a readathon, or are you
I want to check
knocked
out. I might just read some issues of Saga just to take it easy. I think I read everything I said I was going to read, I think, except for Left-Handed Darkness.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, so I'm not dissatisfied.
So we are here to wrap up our little reading vlog 24-hour reading challenge experiment. It is the next day. It is after work.
Well, it's Tuesday.
No, it's Monday. Anyways, we're gonna wrap up everything that we managed to read, and I think how we felt about this challenge experiment in general. You want to go first, Matthew?
No.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I managed to finish 2 books and start another. I finished Red Sands by Carolyn Eden, which is a travelogue about this journalist's journey through Central Asia minus Turkmenistan.
Agreed.
I disagree, but you know what? If she couldn't get the visa together, I get it.
It's hard to get to Ashgabat.
Yeah. And she uses food as the entry point, both in her writing as a motif and to understand culture in the region. And overall, I really like this one. And I'm kind of excited to try out some of the recipes if we want to make some plum. I'm happy that I was able to finish this book during this reading challenge. This is definitely a book that I had picked up a few months ago and have been currently reading for a few months. But it's good to check this one off the list. And now she's so pretty for the bookshelf. I also started and finished Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall, which is a basically Regency romance rom-com kind of situation. I talked about this a little bit more in depth, but overall I would say that it was a lot of fun. I would recommend it if you're looking for like a funny queer romance that doesn't take itself too seriously and just kind of want to have a laugh. And then I also had the chance to start The Prior of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I did not get very far because I went to bed because I'm lame. I am definitely very intrigued so far. I think I always forget how much fun it is to start a new fantasy. And I feel like I do really enjoy those first few chapters of world building where you really don't know what's going on. But here I think that Samantha Shannon has already created some stakes and some kind of hooks to pull me in these first like 30 pages. So I'm excited to see where the rest of this will go. So that's all that I managed to read. Do you want to wrap up quickly what you managed to read?
Yeah, so I finished on audio Such a Fun Age, which was great. I think I only had 2 hours left in it, so I listened to it while making dinner the night we started, but it was fantastic. I then finished Liar Mouth by John Waters, which I was about halfway through when I started. I finished it off. Not good. It like really had me for the first 50 pages, which was just so like out there and ridiculous. And then it just stagnated and kept being the same thing over and over and over. And it did nothing for me. I also started and finished The Employees. Don't know if this will show up well. Yeah.
Do you think that made a difference?
No. Which was fantastic. I love a good sci-fi. It was really short. It was only like 120, 130 pages in each. It's written as personal statements that are given to an interview, so it goes really quickly. But it was such a great sci-fi. But it was a great time. I highly recommend it, especially if you just have like an hour or two and you're bored. And then I continued with Saga, which I knocked out. I think it was like a volume and maybe another few issues after that during our challenge too. Unlike some people, I stayed up as late as I could. I stayed up till 5:30 a.m. I believe.
We both stayed up as late as we could.
So I feel like I'm still paying for that right now. I think that's why I'm so tired.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, very happy with what I got done.
Let us know if you enjoy this kind of content from us, and maybe we will get better at making vlogs in the future.
We've been schmucks.
And these are some books. Bye.
I think I had that upside down.
Yasin küçüksün bırakınımız Yasin baysın bırakınımız Affedimi bırakınımızsın Minimizsin
No, everyone in your community, everyone on BookTube probably takes them off, but not real people.
What am I if not a real person? Do you think I'm a robot? Do you think I power off when I put a book down?
Kind of.
Should we test it?
Yeah. Well, you're not saying anything, so that's not like a great sign for you.
I'm sorry, what was that?